The board participated in 5 other meetings prior to this one so far today. Special meeting for expulsions, 3 closed attorney-client sessions, and a workshop. We will now call the last school board meeting of 2019 to order. Mrs. Bass, please call the roll.
District 1, Barbara McQuinn.
Here.
District 2, Chuck Shaw. District 3, Karen Brill. District 4, Erica Whitfield.
Here.
District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson.
All right, we have quorum. All 7 board members are present. Let the record reflect that we have quorum. Also at the dais is Superintendent Dr. Donald Fenoy, General Counsel Julianne Rico, Inspector General Lung Chu, and Palm Beach County Student Council President Jaden Manuel. Again, I'd like to remind all who will be speaking today that this meeting is being transcribed in real time so it can be viewed with closed captioning. Please speak at a reasonable pace so the transcribers can fully capture what you are saying. At this time, I'd like everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Here to present the flag is the Palm Beach Lakes Community High School Marine Corps JROTC under the direction of Master Gunnery Sergeant Anthony Tabaron. And singing the national anthem are the Kinsey Singers, a choir from UB Kinsey Palmview Elementary School under the direction of Andrea Ward Dumerville. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, young ladies from the elementary school. You did a great job for us. Thank you very much.
Great job. Go ahead and say it.
All right, so the first item on the agenda will be to review and approve the minutes. We have several sets there, more than several. We have a motion. Motion by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We have 5 items added for good cause. BRD 5, Inspector General Succession Planning, good cause exists. This timely item is added to allow for conversation and action if needed with respect to filling the position of the Inspector General. BRD 6, Board Member Travel Shaw, good cause exists for adding this item in order to comply with recent statutory requirements that requires prior approval of board member out-of-county state travel over $500. ELR 6, School Calendar for 2019-2020, good cause exists for adding this item to provide timely notification to affected students, parents, and staff. P2, good cause exists for adding this item to provide timely notification to affected students, parents, and staff. SP3, Amendment to Inlet Grove Law Enforcement Service Agreement. This item is added to ensure continuous provision of security service to Inlet Grove High School following expiration of the current agreement on December 31st, 2019. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any other items to add?
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing to add.
Items you're withdrawing?
Yes, sir. I am withdrawing BRD 3, COM 2, ELR 4, ELR 5, and PC 3.
All right, board members, one item has been pulled from the consent agenda already, POL G4. Are there any other items any board member would like to pull? We need a motion to approve the modified agenda. Motion by Mrs. Andrews, seconded by Ms. Brill. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Disclosures and abstentions, anyone? Brings us to superintendent and board comments. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our incredibly talented student artists who designed this year's winning holiday cards will be honored here shortly. But before we get to the formal presentation, I wanted to extend my congratulations and appreciation for their beautiful artwork. As you can see, their work is displayed here in the boardroom. Kudos to Aiden Mitchell from Binks Forest Elementary, Ava Adams from Independence Middle School, and Jane Rousseau from Lake Worth High School for your winning pieces. Let's give them a round of applause. I think it's also important to acknowledge their wonderful teachers for encouraging their participation and fostering their wonderful talents. Whether you receive one of these cards or not, I do want to extend my warmest wishes to everyone for this holiday season. This time of year is especially busy with wrapping up the semester, exams, and preparing for time off, to be honest. I encourage everyone to take a moment to reflect on 2019 and the many successes we shared. In 2019, our district maintained its A status. We also remain one of the top performing school districts in the state of Florida. Thanks to the support of our community, the funds raised through our referendum that voters approved in 2018, it is now greatly enhancing our district. We have more school police and mental health services in our schools than ever before. Our teachers also have a little more money in their paychecks every 2 weeks. This supplemental pay for our seasoned educators allows us to reward them for their commitment to our district and to retain them so that their tremendous experience and talents continue benefiting students here in Palm Beach County. The referendum is also funding about 650 fine arts and choice and career programs. I also want to thank the school board for your dedication, passion, and leadership. Your commitment to our students and staff is unwavering. While we're reflecting on the past year, I also want to take a look ahead to next year and all the things that are in front of us. I have instructed the staff to reach even higher for our students than ever before. Every child has potential, and the potential must be realized. We will also continue to focus on the goals set in our strategic plan and move the needle further towards success in third grade reading, preparing students for high school, and fostering our students for postgraduate success. I challenge everyone over the coming week to take some time to think about what you can do to help our children in their life academically. Make a resolution to read to a child, provide tutoring, mentor or share leadership story with a student. Allow a student to read to you, showing them what steps you took to ensure that you met your personal goals, whether it be through attending college, receiving a professional certificate, participating in an internship, or networking with like-minded students and adults. Big or small, we can all do something to help our students reach their full potential and achieve academic excellence, not only for them, but for our community as a whole. I would like for everyone to have a wonderful holiday with family and friends. I very much look forward to a fantastic new year. And I also just want to say, it's been a great experience, and I look forward to a continued success. And during this holiday season, also take a moment to reflect on those who we've lost during this time. I think that's very important for all of us to remember our ancestors and everyone around us. At this time, I would like our Deputy Superintendent Keith Oswald to come to the podium to introduce the new principal of Palm Beach Gardens Elementary School.
Thank you, Dr. Fenoy. I always love coming up here talking about the great talent that exists here in Palm Beach County. We have another great one of our assistant principals being promoted tonight for the principalship of Palm Beach Gardens Elementary School, Ms. Kimberly Evans. Mrs. Evans?
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. Good evening, Dr. Fenoy, Chairman Barbieri, and board. I am beside myself with excitement and also humbled by the opportunity that I am being given to lead Palm Beach Gardens Elementary. I love the quote by John Maxwell that states, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." It's not just a position, but an action. I look forward to continuing to cultivate a community of kindness, grow our partnerships within the community, and build strong relationships with parents to support our students. As a part of the Dolphin family since 2008, first as a parent, currently as the assistant principal, and in January the principal, I look forward to enriching and adding to the many successes that our students and staff have a tradition of achieving, while also challenging all stakeholders to take it to the next level. I want to thank my principals and managers who have believed in me and encouraged me to always do more. Jeff Issa, June Issa, Dave Benson, may he rest in peace, Hank Smith, and Marie Caracuzzo. Without your guidance, advice, and friendships, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I also need to thank so many friends, colleagues, and peers who have provided support, a shoulder to lean on, or smile when I needed it most. Most importantly, I want to thank my family, my wonderful husband, Tim, who has on many occasions dropped whatever he's doing to help me out, even bringing me coffee when I needed it, regardless of how ridiculous my request may have been. And to my pride and joy, my two beautiful children, Max and Olivia, who keep me on my toes and make me so proud to be their mom every day. The three of them have put up with some pretty crazy stuff as I've journeyed the path that has led me to this day. Finally, to my parents, my mom, my rock, my best friend, thank you for always being my biggest supporter. And to my dad, thank you for teaching me that dreams can come true if only you believe they can. I know you're in heaven saying, that's my little girl. I love you, I miss you, and I did it. Again, thank you all, and have a wonderful holiday season.
If you could, I would like for your family to please stand and be recognized. All right. All right.
As a new principal, your husband's probably going to have to bring you more than coffee someday. We'll go to board member. Are you finished? Yes, sir, I'm finished. Board member comments. Now, board members, I've been guilty of this myself. So you'll see on the clock is 4 minutes. We give elected officials usually 4 minutes. I know in the past we've always agreed on 3, but how about we try our best to stay within the 4 minutes tonight? I know that everybody wants to wish everybody all kinds of happiness, but if we can try and keep our happiness wishes down to 4 minutes, it would be great. Ms. McQuinn, if you would begin, please.
Yes, I think I can. Schools have been doing so many special things the last few months that I've been spacing out my comments so that I can recognize them without getting lost in the shuffle. Tonight I want to share 3 special events that I attended in November. At Jerry Thomas Elementary School, I attended a ribbon-cutting ceremony for Bookworm. Some of you will have seen a cute little clip on our website. It's a vending machine that dispenses books. It's sponsored by the parent-teacher organization with a great deal of business and community partnership for ongoing funding. But the school sees this as a way to reward good behavior that includes attendance, your academic improvement, not necessarily the top of the class, you're improving, and overall to build literacy schools. So students earn tokens toward vending machine purchases. And this little big kindergarten student on the website says the books are better than candy. So hopefully he will keep that in mind as he goes in progressive grades. I also attended at Jupiter Elementary School a scholarship awards assembly. And I mentioned this last year, but there are other parts that I want to include. This is an annual scholarship fund that was established by 2 school volunteers, one who has passed on, Mr. Jan Winkler. Continuing since 2001, the first recipient, Ms. Hermine Dresner, donates. This year there were 6 students because the committee they just couldn't eliminate one. So there were 6 students who get a $1,000 scholarship that is actually deposited with the Ed Foundation until they attend either college, and it earns interest, they attend college or a career and technical post-high school school. They recognized when they were volunteering all those almost 20 years ago that many of the Jupiter Elementary students, either for financial reasons or just family history, never considered going on past high school. And so they started this scholarship. Today, they have awarded over $100,000 toward these Jupiter Elementary students. And, well, now I'm going to cry, too, because of Camet Gardens Elementary. She's got me all emotional. My very first teaching job was at Palm Beach Gardens Elementary. This assembly with the scholarship students at Jupiter Elementary, there were on the stage with us a student from Florida State University, another from Jacksonville University, who are pursuing master's degrees in finance and robotics engineering. It's so amazing to see them on the stage. But the piece that is really remarkable, the students don't know they're getting the scholarship. Their parents are contacted, and they're waiting back of the cafeteria, which you know is the auditorium in elementary schools. When these students hear their name and they come up and they get that award, they burst into tears. They don't expect it. It is just the most gratifying thing to see. And I'm going to end, okay, I have never used my time. I'm going to end with a Holocaust program that I attended last week at Emerald Cove Middle School. The featured speaker that I had the privilege of hearing was Zelda, who prefers to be called by her first name. Zelda is a child survivor of the Holocaust. Her personal story was so compelling that at 9 o'clock in the morning, a cafeteria full of middle school students were mesmerized. I kept looking at them because we're talking almost 45 minutes. They were mesmerized. And as Zelda told us, she tried to give the kids a picture of the estimated 6 million Jews that were killed during the genocide. And to put it in perspective, she said, think of the population of a third of the state of Florida. She described her childhood, the incredible hunger of her family, and kids who didn't have parents there didn't have food, of a piece of bread this big to share. For 3 years, over 3 years, she didn't bathe. And, of course, the constant fear of death. So Zelda is 84 years old now. What happens when we don't have any more firsthand Holocaust survivors? So it's very important to her that she inspires students to carry that message, to be better people, and to stand strong. I am so emotional. And fight injustice and bullying. And so to carry on that message, which is the perfect message for us now. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, however we celebrate. Let's stand strong and fight against injustice and bullying. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McQuinn. Ms. Whitfield?
Well, good news, I'll be really short, so we'll say I gave half my time to Mrs. McQuinn. So I just wanted to really briefly talk about FSBA. Last week, a few of us were able to attend the Florida School Boards Association conference in Tampa. And the thing that I wanted to bring back to everyone here just to mention is that every session that I went to, I would go and I would sit and I would hear what the recommendations from the state and from the different organizations in the state and other school boards were. And really every single time I would send a message to some of our staff here and I would say, how are we doing on this? And the answer was always, we are already doing all that. We're doing everything. And so the thing that really just stood out to me is how far advanced we are as a school district and really what a great job everyone is doing. So I wanted to mention that really as part of this holiday message that I wanted to give is just how grateful I am to the people who work here in Palm Beach County and our school system. I really am always impressed with our staff and really the dedication of people here, our teachers and our bus drivers and our school food service workers and everyone in this room who contributes to really making the school system amazing. I'm just always proud of you, and I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for this whole year, and I look forward to next year, and I hope you have a wonderful, happy, and safe holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brill.
Thank you. And I was also honored to attend Emerald Cove Middle School's Holocaust Survivors Series. Thank you, Barry Ash, for continuing to coordinate this wonderful teaching event every year. It has really grown and now includes 6th grade. Each year I learned something new. This year, I learned from survivor Mary Eckstein that 2/3 of Hungarian Jews were killed in the Holocaust. As a Hungarian Jew, that touched me very deeply. I kicked off my holiday season, as I always do, at Arts for All's holiday performance. You know them as very special arts. Students from Forest Hill Elementary School, Bach Middle School of the Arts, and Palm Beach Central's High School were featured performers. Please try to attend next year's holiday showcase or some of Arts for All's other events. You will walk away understanding why I always say these students aren't disabled, but they are differently abled. And finally, I always end our December meeting with a poem. This year, I bring back the one that touches my heart the most. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the schools, no students were present to break any rules. The budget was written and every dime spent, with no one quite sure where all of it went. The school board was snuggled all safe in their beds, while visions of budget increases danced in their heads. When all of a sudden there rose such a clatter, they jumped from their beds to see what was the matter. Away to the boardroom they went in a dash to see who it was that threatened the cash. And there before them who did appear with issues they thought finished this year? Once more before them plainly to see were parents of children they call ESE. We've done this before and we were quite clear. So once again tell us why you are here. One of them stepped forward, and soon it was apparent that this person before them was one informed parent. The presentation was prepared with great thought and care, with federal law quotes that brought them great glares. With a voice loud and clear, they were all called by name. These are not new laws, and the meaning is plain. IDEA, ADA, LRE, and 504. It is time to remind you, just like before. Now today, we wish you good tidings, great hope, and good cheer. Inclusion in Palm Beach County is finally here. We have keenly listened to your children's plight. Yes, to be included is not a privilege, it is a right. You want them included right from the start, to become part of the whole and not kept apart. You want them included, and yes, all means all. We won't make them feel different and won't make them feel small. For such a long time, the seed has been planted. We no longer still struggle for what to others is granted. We don't say not now, but we'll tell you when. You heard that same story again and again. So on this December board meeting night, we agree inclusion is not a privilege, but it is a right. And on this issue, we firmly do stand for the rights of your children that you did demand. As the meeting concluded, ending the night, it was heard, happy holidays to all, and to all equal rights. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Ms. Sanders. I know this is going to be tough for you, Ms. Sanders, but do your best.
Absolutely. I am going to beat it, but it was great, Mrs. Brill. Good afternoon to everyone, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and just have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. But yes, I have some wonderful things to tell you that's happened to us here in the Palm Beach County School District. And when I think about the holidays, I think about gift giving. And this morning in Belglade, a house was given to a family by Seminole Ridge White's Construction Academy. They brought the house in and laid the foundation, and everything was in place for a family. This is the White's Construction Academy at Seminole Ridge, and it is actually joined by Royal Palm Beach High School HVAC program. They delivered the 8th house in the Palm Beach County School District area. This house came to Belglade this morning. The principal, the students, and the entire construction team was there in Belglade at 9 a.m. Principal Campbell and instructor Tekrovich were there with the students. They saw their house. David Porter was there with his hard hat along the way, saying, move that crane this way, move that crane that way, and they laid the house down on the foundation. A special thanks to Habitat for Humanity for partnering with the School District of Palm Beach County and building homes in our community to help our needy. To get a new home for Christmas is truly a big deal. And I want to thank the City of Belle Glade for donating the land. And then this week I had a chance to go to Glade Central High School. I was invited for breakfast. I said, 8 o'clock, I've got to be over there. Well, yes, it was by the life skills class. Miss Phil said, Miss Andrews, we need you there right at 8 o'clock. So I came in and everybody was dressed in their attire. They were ready to serve breakfast. It's a school-based enterprise there at Glade Central. And what is it? A program that helps create a work-based learning experience that support future career planning. They've got the Glade Central Hot Pot Cafe. I came in there was grits, eggs, sausage, and they says, we're catering to you, Miss Andrews, to show you the kinds of work we're doing here at Glade Central. And not just to you, there was a teacher there, Miss Gordon, who recognized the students in her class. For all of those students passed 4 out of 5 geometry, FSQs, and USAs. So I was in the midst of all of those wonderful students, and it was great. And then today, this morning, I was out again in the Glades region, the Gove Buddy Exchange Program. This is an annual program presented by Gove Elementary School. It took place this morning, and Santa Claus was there. He came in early this morning, and he stopped at the election area in the Glades where the mayor was located, and they got a big truck. And all of Santa and his elves went to Gove Elementary School this morning. They were there to meet the students that have needs, special needs. They were there with a lot of toys. And I said to myself, where did they get all those toys from? Well, yes, there were students, 31 students from Glade Central High School. There were students from Glades Day. There was Santa Claus. I thought I knew him, but I wasn't sure. I said, maybe this is the real Santa. I've got to keep going. And every student at Gove received toys, had a chance to play, and they had a friend from the high school. And then after I left, I went to Pahokee High School, where we had the Women of Tomorrow. They were there with a wonderful luncheon celebrating the girls, letting them know they were moving to the next level of womanhood. And lastly, a shout out to Dr. Amos. I've got to get that in. He invited me to a basketball game this week. I hadn't been to a basketball game in a while, but when I went over there was Glade Central playing Royal Palm Beach High School. I said, I know all of these students. And I saw the coaches. They were dressed like the NBA in their suits and ties. And when I saw the varsity team, I saw the JV team too. Boy, they were fast. I had to get out of the way of those balls. They were moving. It was a wonderful week. We're celebrating each other. Let's enjoy the holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Dr. Robinson?
So you know when you try to put constraints on us that we just try to.
I was just going to give it a valiant effort. I knew I was a loser, but I was trying
Just
anyway.
just give up. So, okay. And I'm not even trying to top that. So last week I was honored to be included on a panel discussion that discussed the documentary Push Out, Criminalization of Black Girls in School. This documentary was sponsored by the National Coalition of 100 Black Women with support from the Palm Beach County Library System and the Palm Beach County School District. I was pleased to share the stage with Judge Corlew, Greg Starling, who's the Chief Probation and Parole Juvenile Division, our own Elaine Hubbard Williams, Director of Support Services, Mark Simmons, the Principal of Riviera Beach Preparatory Academy, and Miss Makayla Young, a student at Palm Beach Lakes High School. And the documentary is based on this book, Push Out, and it shows several black girls as they told their personal stories of difficulties in schools. It was very informative, but I really got much more from the book. I thank the organizers for giving me a timeline and inviting me, which forced me to read the entire book. It was particularly timely since I was part of the inaugural meeting of the Council of Great City Schools Task Force on Girls and Young Women of Color. I plan to be very active in participating with that work. So from the book, the documentary, and the task force, I got some clarity as to the cause of many of the problems that we face. It was very clear that we have power struggles in schools that sometimes start with the insensitivity and insecurity of the adults. The book clearly shared the stories of bad girls who act hard because they are struggling to survive. They are said to have attitude when in actuality they have pain and minimal, if any, support to assist them in navigating the treacherous waters of sexism, racism, and adolescence. The book repeatedly used the term exclusionary disciplinary practices to address the numerous ways that we deny children the opportunity to learn in the guise of discipline. What the girls need is support and guidance, not punishment. And the denial of educational opportunities only makes their situation worse. That is what they call the push out. There's also this thing that they call the pull out, where the girls are lured out of school by the promise of money and things that are valued by their young selves and their peers. I encourage you to read the text because it explains the difficult situation that all too many young ladies find themselves in. It is essentially a form of human trafficking. The text also discussed the adultification of black girls, where they are viewed to be older than they are. It is assumed that they should be more mature, more in control. Because of this, this leads to more problems as the system punishes them for acting their true age. Additionally, black women, starting at a very young age, are stereotyped to be strong all the time. I just want you to know we get tired of being strong. Sometimes we just want to be. And it was very clear in this book that that is occurring in some of our school-age girls. The book talks about historical trauma. It talks about the cumulative trauma of being objectified. One girl said, and I quote, "Sometimes the frown on my face is not disrespect. It might be that I went through a lot today. You don't understand all I had to go through to get to school." Another said, "I was born to be awesome, not perfect, and you see my imperfections." They provided many recommendations and shared models. I'll just share 3 briefly. The first 2 were lifted up at the Council of Great City Schools Task Force meeting that I referred to. One was Pittsburgh Schools has a Black Girls Equity Alliance. 2, Guilford County has a single-gender girls' school on the campus of Bennett College that has had a 100% graduation rate each year for the past 10 years. And thirdly, a recommendation from the text that's in alignment with a recommendation from Achievement Matters for All is that we need to provide safe places for our children to be vulnerable and to be themselves and to be validated and to be made whole. If we don't, they might not ever find themselves. One girl in the documentary said that she fought all the time because otherwise, she said, I would just be the fat girl. So fighting became her brand because we did not help her find herself. Push Out makes it clear that we need to focus with intentionality on the needs of Black girls, and I will continue to advocate for us to do so with even more intensity. Thank you, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Mr. Shaw?
Thank you very much. Last week we had the opportunity, several of us, to go to the adult education luncheon last Friday. And my message today is one of just to cover real quickly 2 students who spoke. Not because they spoke, because these were 2 people that overcame tremendous challenges in their lives to be able to be successful and be productive in our community, especially one teacher that came to this country not being able to speak English at all, went through the Adult Ed Center, learned to speak English, got a job working in a jewelry store, almost lost her job because of her ability to handle English, but overcame that with hard work, persistence, and is now a first-year teacher in our school system at one of our elementary schools. And what really impressed me is that when we see these kinds of stories, we realize that people are coming and doing something special, but they're not giving excuses for why they were in the positions they were. They had that resilience to be successful. I say that because this is the week that all of us sitting here, we're not in the schools next week when we see the things that our teachers and our principals, our cafeteria workers, our custodians, what everybody in the school system will be doing for students throughout this system next week. I heard a story today from a principal who told me about their school raising the money to buy a car for a parent that would bring their child to school in the morning, and that parent sat on the school campus the entire day because the parent had no way to get away from the school, and just said, well, I'll help volunteer. I've heard the stories about a teacher who took a child to a restaurant for the first time in their entire life because they had never been in a regular restaurant. Their restaurant experience was at a McDonald's or a Burger King where it was fast food, but they had never sat at a table and seen multiple pieces of silverware to use. The stories that we hear are people throughout the system give of getting food and clothing and everything. And I want to thank all of those people who are employed in this school district who reach out and do so much for others this time of year, but not just this time of year, throughout the year. And I hope when we go into 2020, that with the rancor that we hear in this country right now, that maybe this school district can be the example of showing that there is kindness and there is an ability of all of us to work together and be human beings on this earth that will be productive. So I wish everybody a happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Board members, I've attached my report for all of you. When you get a chance, you might want to take a look at it. I'm not going to spend the time to go through it because it's in written format for all of you to read, and I believe you have a hard copy. One thing that I did want to mention, and I didn't put on as a board discussion item because there wasn't enough time, but Mr. Manuel, President Manuel, is with us every single month, and the only thing that we let him do is give his report. I mean, he could sit in front of us and give his report and go home. So my suggestion, and I've checked with General Counsel, and there's no prohibition, is that if he sees agenda items on the agenda that he'd like to give us student input on, that we allow him to speak on agenda items, just like board members. Obviously, he wouldn't be able to vote, but he would be able to give us his input. Otherwise, it's kind of senseless to have the student council president for the county sit with us when he can't say anything. So I'll be exploring that with the General Counsel's office. I know in Miami-Dade, they allow the representative from the student council to speak on agenda matters, so unless any of you have a strong feeling, and I hate to put you on the spot while he's sitting here listening, but this is the only time we can do this, but if everybody's shaking their heads, and I know we're not allowed to vote on this stuff, Mr. Rico, so I get it, but Mr. Manuel, you might want to look at the agenda for January, and if there's something there that you'd like to talk about, we would, you have to be limited to 3 minutes. It's hard for me to keep the board members, but I think we can tell you what you have to do, but if you could kind of take a look at the agenda and see what you would like to do. The only other thing I'd like to say is, when we go to Tampa or, we'll be going to Tallahassee in January, I mean, it's such a pleasure. I went to the Chairmanship Academy. Mr. Shaw knows, but I mean, I'm just glad I got U6 because I tell you, there's some school boards in this state that are like, wow. The staff here would be very happy if they saw those other school boards. They would never complain about any of us because, I mean, there was some like, wow in that room. But anyway, I'm thankful for all of you because it's, although sometimes we don't agree, we all get along. And that was obvious in one of these counties that is not the way it works. So it was funny. But the other thing is that we get to brag a lot. And, we're well respected around the state, Palm Beach County. I mean, they come up to all of us. I see Mr. Shaw talking to board members from all over the county and all of you that were there. I know you do too, but it's great because we have a district staff and we have school-based administration and wonderful teachers. that make us a high-performing district, and the whole state knows that, and we're usually the leader on anything that's innovative. We get out there first, and so I want to thank all of your staff, Mr. Superintendent, including our school-based administrators and our teachers for giving us the bragging rights. I mean, I tell everybody all the time, it's a great gig, you know. We get to go out and brag as if we did it, and you all do it, but we get to brag about it. So I'm thankful that we have a great district, and that I get to serve on this board to represent that district all over the state. So it's been a pleasure to represent, and I wish everybody happy holidays this year. Thank you. And that takes us to presentations. Ms. Nako Nolim from the Communications